Today's video is going to be something a little bit different. It's pretty much a behind the scenes video of how long it takes me to create my YouTube content, and specifically how long it's going to take me to review this monopod by Sony that they've sent me. I've literally received it today. I'm going to show you everything from the beginning to end, including opening it, reviewing it, shooting some B-roll, creating the video and editing. And the answer is probably a lot longer than you think. Let's get into the video. Throughout this video, I'll keep a total of the time I've spent in the bottom left-hand corner. The first thing I needed to do, obviously, was open the product. Sometimes this will be on camera, but this time I just decided to go ahead and open it, as I wasn't expecting there to be any accessories inside the box that people would be interested in. Once I'd opened it, I familiarised myself with the product, read the manual, used all of the mechanisms, and understand all of the key features that the product spec contains. If you ever review any products for YouTube, I would highly recommend that you photograph it and shoot B-roll of the product before you use it. You'll be amazed at how easily fingerprints show up on any shiny new gadget in a video, especially for close-up shots. Of course, if you were to use it outside, then you would expect the feet to get muddy and it will make your life a whole lot more difficult. Shoot the B-roll first. You can see here that I typically set up my wooden surface and background, add a few lights, shoot some product B-roll in slow motion on a gimbal. And whilst I've got all of this set up, I typically shoot the thumbnail image for this. But, as you'll find out later on, I totally forgot to do it this time. With the product stills and video out of the way, I will do a bit of research around the product to see where it sits within their existing product lineup, to give viewers alternatives for lower and higher spec products. Since the product was not released at the time of the review, I wasn't actually provided with a price, but their website had similar but older products to give me a rough idea of what it might cost. If I think it's appropriate, then I would also compare the product against other brands that I've used to provide a balanced opinion of the product. At this point, I feel like I knew the product well enough to create a loose script for the introduction to the video. This typically covers the content for the video, an introduction to the product, details specs and who I think it's for. It's at this stage that I will create a complete structure for the video so that I don't miss anything out. This includes the test that I will do, the gear that I will use, but remember, I haven't actually used the product at this stage, therefore I won't be making any sort of conclusions. Now that I have my script, I set up my studio camera, lighting, microphone, and you can see just to the right I've got my iPad with the points that I wish to cover. For now, I memorise paragraphs of content at a time, and I slightly freestyle the script, and no, I don't get it in one take, more like 3 or 4 takes sometimes. Since my on-camera audio is not perfect in my home studio space, I prefer to do my voiceover with a different microphone. The B-roll section of the video is a voiceover that I've scripted, and I simply read off my iPad straight into Adobe Premiere. When doing the voiceover, I realised that I'm missing 4 to 5 vital clips to complete the voiceover of the features, and I have to set up the backdrop and lighting again. The next chapter is actually in a different order to the final video. I travelled to Seven Sisters Cliffs to shoot a landscape video about photographing Beachy Head Lighthouse, and this was my first opportunity to use the monopod as my main camera support. This gave me the opportunity to see how well it would cope with uneven ground, if it would provide me with more stable footage, and whether it became heavy after extensive use. I spent a total of 4 hours out that morning, but since I was already going to make another video, I'll only actually carry 2 hours across for this segment. So it's the weekend and I continue to make this review of the monopod, but today I've recruited my eldest daughter, who's behind the camera right now, and don't worry, she's getting paid in sweets and in cakes. So we're heading to Shoreham Airport now, and we're going to take some photographs and some videos of helicopters and aeroplanes. Let's go. This was a good test for the monopod, and with a bit of practice I was getting some good results, especially panning to follow the planes and the helicopters. The product in use was as expected based upon using it indoors for a few weeks prior. At the end of that segment I introduced the next chapter, which was at Seven Sisters, actually filmed the day before. At this point I have the majority of the content for the video. The videos are all saved by date and which camera I used, and I bring these all onto the timeline to do a rough edit, picking the best of the multiple takes. I may reorder the clips or remove some if it isn't making sense during the edit. I generally walk away after the first cut and come back to it another day. If you're interested in figuring out how I actually just made that time lapse, I've got my camera on a motorised slider here in some sort of janky position behind my desk, and this took me about half an hour to set up for that 10-second time lapse, so hopefully it was worth it. Day 2 of editing, I cut up the B-roll to suit the voiceover, I refine the edit to ensure that the pacing and the timing is all good. Once again, I walk away from the edit and come back to it another day with a fresh set of eyes and ears. Day 3 of editing, I add the introduction sequence, transitions, music, and I tweak the audio levels to suit. The video is now edited up to the conclusion, and I've got an idea of how long the video is likely to be and whether I have to cut out any content to make it more efficient. At this point, I've had the monopod for around 6 weeks and I can form some sort of conclusion and whether I would recommend it or not. I spend 30 minutes writing up the conclusion script for the final segment of the video. I don't always have my studio set up ready to film. The softbox will get in the way and I use my camera for shooting landscapes. So it takes some time to set up, but I aim for the best quality I can, so I don't mind putting in the effort. It takes me 30 minutes to film the conclusion to the video. Final day of video editing. I add the conclusion talking headshots, filtering through the best takes again, and I watch the whole video through one last time to ensure there are no glitches. I add my end screen template, my outro music, and I export the video. Now, one of the most important things for making a YouTube video is creating a title and creating a thumbnail. So that's one of the last things I've got to do, but it shouldn't be one of the last things. Ideally, before you start making a video, you know exactly what it's going to be called, and you've got an idea for the thumbnail, because if you've got a rubbish title and a rubbish thumbnail, people won't watch your videos. This morning I've come out to the South Downs, I'm just taking some sunrise photographs, but I just thought it's a nice location, nice backdrop to create a thumbnail image. I've come out with my friend Louise Welcome, she's been behind the camera and I've just been taking some photographs. So this has been another hour in order to create the thumbnail images. I've got a few variations to the thumbnail, some of them are a bit closer, some of them have some negative space, so if I do end up using some text, I can put that in some of the voids of the photograph. Take into consideration that the photograph straight out of camera is 3:2, and then when it comes to creating the thumbnail, that'll be 16:9, so you're going to lose some of the image at the top and some of the image at the bottom. But here you go, some more behind the scenes of how I create my videos. I settle on a title which aligns with what I said in the introduction about this being the evolution of the monopod. I include the product number so that it will be easy for anyone to find in the future. I save the video and thumbnails onto my desktop and I upload them to YouTube. I complete the title, video description, which I've developed a template for to save time. I include all of the relevant links to the product that Sony have sent me. I type in the search tags to help viewers find the video. I upload the thumbnail. I agree to all of the terms and conditions for the monetization and appropriate content, and I schedule it for the release date of the product. And there you go, that is how long it takes me to make a YouTube video. Well, this YouTube video anyway, just over 16 hours. It's not the shortest video I've ever made, and it's definitely not the longest, but it is an average. Take into consideration I've been making YouTube videos for 5 years now, and I'd like to think I'm a lot more streamlined now than I was when I first started out. If you're thinking of starting a YouTube channel, don't let these numbers put you off. I think making YouTube videos is a lot of fun, and that's exactly why I do it. Hopefully you've enjoyed this behind the scenes look on how I make my videos. If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.